If you're a realtor with less than 1,000 followers, then this video is for you. I'm gonna be revealing the exact strategy that Jewel used to get 2.5 million and 4 under contract in just 16 weeks. The same strategy that Trista used to go from 1,400 to almost 7,000 followers in just 16 weeks. And the same strategy that I used to put 9 under contract in the first year of being a real estate agent and gaining over 23,000 followers in just 12 months.
And then I came across Jimmy Page and his philosophy on how to storytell, paint pictures, understand your ideal client, leverage music and passion in how you communicate that. And I'm telling you guys, that was the reason I started to convert on YouTube. That was the reason I started to convert on Instagram, was literally because of what I was picking up and learning from Jimmy. And so super excited to introduce you guys to him. Him and I have chatted back and forth for a couple months now. And so he's gonna give us a training on social media, take a ton of notes. After this, reach out to him if you guys have any questions, but we're gonna all learn a ton. So Jimmy, welcome. I'm gonna kick this off and you've got full control.
Jeremy, I really appreciate it. Before I even start, I want to gauge the room, because obviously, like, I truly believe that you can build your business any single way you want, but it really comes down to like focus. Like, I am a true believer in focus and going all in, like just like Jeremy probably preaches and Hermosi preaches, more, better, new. And if I can do more of what I'm currently doing, it's way less risky than doing new of anything else. And so I'm curious, I see the wins, I see your guys' leaderboard. Is that mostly coming from door knocking? And is there a typical form of marketing that most people do? Drones, learning how to create the content in general, knowing what content is exciting to others. Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing that. Okay, who here has less than 1,000 followers? Raise your hand. Who here has more than 5,000 followers? Raise your hand. Okay, so everybody has less than 5,000 followers. Cool. More than 2,000. Anybody? Awesome. Perfect. Okay, let's get into it. Before I get started, who has never heard of me? Can you raise your hand if you've never heard of me? Awesome. Yes. Perfect. I like that. All right, so my goal for this presentation is to help kind of give you a framework. If you have less than 1,000 followers, like, I am such a hard preacher on volume. So I guess to kind of preempt this thing, I can come across as pretty harsh. I can come across as aggressive. I'm very intense. That's just the way that I've kind of developed into who I am today, and I'm okay with it. So I hope that it is received well. I'm a big proponent on volume and reach as many people as possible. Just like Jeremy was talking about, nobody knows about us. And so anybody that's out there saying like, you don't need to go viral, here's what 100 people look like, and they show a scene of 100 people and like, look, this is like if you talk. No, I don't want that. I want as many people as I can possibly reach. And what do I need to do to reach as many people as possible? Like, if you had the opportunity to either go knock 5 doors or 100 doors, what do you think you're going to have more success with? Right? Like, no one's going to be out there saying like, hey man, you knocked 5 doors. Like, that's a lot of doors. No. We're going volume here. You know what I mean? I'm already getting a little too intense. Okay, so let's just jump right in. So I got my license on May 14th, 2024. So it's actually been a year, because today is May 15th. Before I got my license though, I started creating Instagram. I started my account. So on March 12th, I started my account, and even though I didn't have my license, I knew that I knew that I needed to start. So I was just gonna post, I'm just gonna build the brand. I'm gonna talk about my story, I'm gonna build the brand. Within 66 days, I gained 1,300 followers, but I had technical difficulties. I realized I couldn't connect some of the softwares that I was gonna need, and so I had to start over. Again, I posted 75 times, but I had to start back over. And so on May 20th, 3 days later, on Monday, I started back over again. But it turned out to be the best thing I could have possibly done. I had learned a lot from those 2 months I had been posting over here, and I was kind of fiddling around, if you will. By the time I created this second account, I went balls to the wall. Nothing was holding me back. We went straight volume, and in 38 days, we gained over 5,000 followers. Now, followers obviously aren't everything. It's just a measuring. Everything's just a KPI, and that's just one KPI that I'm using to communicate information. Now, within a year, we're now up to over 23,000 followers. In my first year, I live in an area that I know nobody. I have no sphere. I have no friends. I have no family. I have no real estate experience. I have nothing on my side to be able to sell any real estate. Besides my background in marketing and content in general. And so within my first year, we were able to get 9 under contract, $5.3 million in a market where I've heard Jeremy say it multiple times. 2024 was obviously a very rough year for a lot of agents. And so within a year where, not to mention, I'm in a market where there is no shortage of agents trying to make it on Instagram, staying consistent, talking to their ideal client. And in a market where there's a lot of people with a lot of skills, a lot of experience that are way greater than mine. But I was able to come into the scene, get on Instagram, and compete with the people with 10,000 plus followers that have way more experience than I do, and kind of carve out my own little slice, if you will. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So this is very common for me to get inbound DMs like this, but I do not teach inbound DMs, because if you're just building your business off of inbound DMs, then it's no better than relying on referrals and word of mouth. But it doesn't just work for me. These are some of the results that we see from people in our community, like Kelly, who's literally only 5 weeks into working with us. She had 1,500 followers before and for several years, and now she's gained 1,000 followers in the last month. And has 1 consultation. The thing that I'm pushing for the most is consultations, because I can't influence someone's timeline. I can't influence them. I can't influence any of that. All I can influence is my input into the system, the actions, the daily actions that I take to create more conversations and create consultations. So I love that you guys have your leaderboard with listings and under contract and things like that. The measurable factor that we have in our group is just consultations. I want to book as many consultations as I possibly can. And a consultation for us is not just anybody. We're only booking consultations with someone that has a reasonable timeline and a reasonable budget. So Caleb ended up going from follower to consultation in 10 minutes, following, honestly, I think a lot of what Jeremy helped teach me as well, with a $750,000 budget.
Recording in progress.
Oh, you're killing me, dude. Don't worry, I'm recording. As long as you accepted my recorder. Did you accept it? I don't even see it here. I'm not recording either. That's okay. We're all good. I'll only share a few of these. So Ashana, 2 weeks after starting with us, or partnering with us, she had her first active buyer, and 45 days later, she was under contract from Instagram. And then we have Bella. You can see here, she says, it's been crazy. I literally set 4 appointments this week alone. I think she ended up closing out the week with 6 consultations from Instagram. And this is coming from never having a consultation before, putting in the work, building the brand, staying consistent. This didn't happen overnight. This happened after several weeks of work. Unfortunately, this isn't door knocking. We're not going to get consultations in the first week, but we're on Instagram, so there's that. So to give you a little idea of who I am and what my background, how I've been able to achieve this and kind of learn from this, is that I've been in the content space since 2017, building brands in different capacities. I had a brand called The Active Dad, where it was all about baby and family and my own vlogging of life. I was able to grow that to over 5,000 subscribers, with that Instagram account to over 16,000. So I have already been trained a lot on knowing who I'm talking to, having an ideal client, creating content in a specific way, staying consistent, how to compose a video. So I had that going for me. But I still, just because I knew that, didn't mean I was able to make anything work. I had a video production background. I was working with businesses. I was totally just not doing well. They were not getting results. I worked with some real estate agents. Like, this is an agent up in McCall doing YouTube content. I was doing short form content for other agents, like those fancy edits. I was doing those for people. They were paying me thousands of dollars. We were getting no results, and I felt terrible. I felt terrible that people were paying me thousands of dollars and it was not working at all. So that led me to researching what actually works. What are people who are actually getting leads from Instagram doing? Because I'm over here influenced by the video production space, the video agency space. So if anybody's coming up to you and saying that, hey, I can create you Instagram content and all you have to do is spend an hour and a half a day and we're going to script it. We're going to do all these things to save you all the time. Run as fast as you can. My take on it. But with all that said, that led me into researching what do other people do. And it had to do a lot with lifestyle, a lot more user-generated style content, not nice blurry backgrounds. That doesn't matter. That's what I quickly realized. And so that's when I started to dive into that world. And I quickly realized that the people I was talking to were not willing to do the work that I knew was required to do this. And I also realized there wasn't a space for me as a video production company. And so that only led me one place. I have to get my license. If I still want to continue down this marketing and content route, I have to get my license. And so that's what I did. And so that's what takes us back to started on the journey of going through everything. And so when I got my license, I didn't get my license to do transactions. I actually partnered with an agent to handle all my transactions. I got in to just go all in on Instagram. And so that's what I did. I didn't prospect in any sort of way, just on Instagram. And so this is what the funnel essentially is. We're taking someone who doesn't know us. What we're doing on Instagram in the end is exactly what we're doing offline or really any sort of marketing in general. So we're taking someone who doesn't know us and we're using Instagram marketing, which consists of Instagram ads, local content, real estate content, connection content that Jeremy calls POV, text on screen type content, stories, posting the stories at least 2 to 5 times a day, and then utilizing story polls. Ultimately, our goal is to obviously get attention, reach a lot of people, but in the end, get people to raise their hand. So I'm trying to get as many hand raisers as possible. And a hand raiser is a new follower, someone who commented for my guide, someone who commented for my listing details, or someone who answered my story polls. These are the targets that I'm going for every single week. 50 to 100 new followers a week, 10 people commenting for my guide, 10 people commenting for my listing, 10 people commenting for my story polls. That will give me more than enough leads to build a business around Instagram. But someone raising their hand is simply not enough. That is just a dead end, right? Like that's not someone coming up to you and saying they want to work. That's just someone who's showing their cards saying, hey, I could be interested in this. It's kind of like an open house. I like to talk about what we're doing on Instagram is we're holding a virtual open house. And when someone walks in through that door of the open house, they are showing interest in real estate. Now, we don't know what their level of interest is. Is it no interest because I'm a neighbor? Or is it high intent interest like I sold my house, I just flew in from Arizona and I need to buy a house in the next 30 days, which is my story. We needed a house right away when we moved to Idaho. It's in the DM follow-up because after they raise their hand, I need to know your timeline and budget. And unfortunately, I can't just DM everyone and say, hey, what's your timeline and budget? I have to connect with them. I got to build rapport. I got to qualify them. And then ideally, once I have their timeline and budget, then that will help me determine what can I offer you. I'm either going to ask for a referral if you have no timeline or you're just here for the content, get you on a consultation if you have a quicker timeline, or put you on a longer nurture, like a property search if you have a longer timeline. Then leading to long-term follow-up, active client, under contract, that sort of thing. Does all this make sense to everyone? Cool. Let's keep going. Okay, so when anyone comes to joins my program essentially, these are basically the 3 main things that we focus on. Number 1, the client. Number 2, the content. Number 3, the conversations. When it comes to the client, what I want you to do is go research moving to city state in Google and read through all the conversations on all the forums. Before I even started posting to Instagram, so my story is that I moved from Arizona to Idaho, and I knew that that was going to be the kingpin in my entire content approach because I had no real estate background at all. So I was basically going to be an influencer. I was going to talk about local stuff. I was going to talk about my story, and then I was going to show some houses. I was going to try to get in some model homes and things like that. But even though I hadn't made the move, I went to Google to at least, I want to put a finger on the pulse. Just like any good business, a business isn't going to create a product and put it into the world unless they know there's a demand for this product. The same thing is true with us, is that we want to find what is the reason why people love living where we live and why are they moving here? What is the motivation, right? We talked about people's why. It's all about motivation. What is motivating you to leave where you're currently trying to get away from, whether that's even locally or from another state? And what is motivating you in terms of the lifestyle or whatever it is? There's some dream that you're looking for. So we want to understand, and they'll dive into this on Reddit and Quora. They'll talk all about it. And so they'll just basically show their cards, and that helps position our messaging. What I teach is ultimately our message, real quick. Whenever we say who's your niche, who's your ideal client, everyone, we've been trained from brokerages and whatever to be it's a first time home buyer, it's a move up, it's a move down, it's all these things. And I don't believe in that. What I believe in is it's a season of life. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go look at the market. I'm gonna see what people are concerned about, what their biggest questions are, why they're moving, what their season of life is. And then I'm gonna find a connection with what they have going on, with my life, my experiences, my expertise. And based on that connection is how I build that connection inside of Instagram. Because in the end, someone doesn't even consider me an option until they feel like I understand them. And so the easiest way to understand someone is through showing like, I get it. I've been through it. I also have kids, or I also moved up or moved down, or whatever it may be. But Instagram is all about creating a connection. People do not want to be sold to at all, which is why I take basically the influencer approach versus the real estate approach. All right, once we know who we're talking to, then it's all about the content itself. And first up, we have the video itself. When you create a video, obviously we got to get their attention. So it's your text on screen. And this is the reality of it. Your text on screen hooks probably suck and they need work. Just plain and simple. Whatever comes out of your head initially, like as a first thought, it's terrible. And so we need to learn and develop the skill of how to put text on screen. Instead of like 3 neighborhoods to check out, or if you're thinking about flying into St. George, here's 3 neighborhoods I would look at. That's like level 1. We can take that a step above by understanding psychology, by understanding what people truly care about. It goes back to the motivation. What is on their checklist? And the funny thing is that as real estate agents, we already ask these questions in general. Let's say someone comes into your open house. You're going to qualify them, right? You're going to ask them, what do they want in a neighborhood? What are you looking for in a house? You're going to do all those things anyways. Now what's your number one hook? That's good. That's funny. Like the number one hook. You're going to qualify them offline already. We're just utilizing that same information on Instagram. All right, keep going on the content. We need better visual hooks. I find so often, like a lot of people in my community as well, when they first come in, your visual hooks are terrible. Like we need to get better at visual hooks. And it could be in what you're showing. It could also be in the way you're actually showing it. The best visual hooks that I like to say is a visual representation of what it is that you're trying to talk about. And so if you look at my content, if you follow my page that I don't have up right here, but if you follow me, like, I'm not a proponent of showing myself typing on the computer. Like I don't batch create B-roll. I just don't do that. That's not me. So what I do is I live the life of my ideal client because I know them. And then I live the life of my ideal client and then I document it. And those are the visual hooks that I use. All right, next is keep it concise. How do I make it shorter? Jeremy, you mentioned Hermosi a lot, right? Cool. I'll play along. Hermosi talks about all the time when he writes his books, he'll go through like 19, 20 revisions. And every time he reads through it, he's like, how do I make this shorter? He'll read a paragraph and say, how do I make this shorter? How do I make this more concise? And if you can adopt that mindset in everything you do, then you'll just have better conversations, better communication, and reach more people in general on social media. So I'm always thinking about, like, we're so emotionally attached to our own content that we want to put all of our clips in there when in reality, like, yeah, place them all in there and then really analyze and determine, do I really need all these clips? Are any of these redundant? And then just try and basically make it half. All right, once we have our messaging, our text on hooks, our content creation down, it's all about volume, right? Like Jeremy just said, from $0 to $500,000 a year or even more, $0 to $1 million a year, your biggest constraint is not enough people know about you. Plain and simple. So advertise more. Everyone is so afraid that I'm not going to be able to create a scalable model. I'm going to post 3 times a week. I'm going to make people, they're going to think I'm posting too much. They're going to see that I use the same clips on multiple videos. They're going to realize that I'm saying the same thing. They're going to realize that I just reposted a video. No, they're not. Nobody's paying any attention to you, so don't worry. And then finally, we have conversations. We need to get hand raisers. I got to keep the comment section open, I guess. We need to get hand raisers. Like I said before, that's new followers, guides, listings, comments, and then story polls. Reach out and follow up with everyone in the DM. So that's kind of the 3 high level portions to this. Does anybody have any questions up until this point?
When you say keeping it concise, does
Yeah.
that go for captions and your videos? Because
No.
I know I've seen things that say you should have very informative captions
Yeah.
and then a repeating reel so that they continue to watch it over and over again.
Yeah, I love it. So 20,000, I think it's, or 2,000. I think Instagram says 2,200 character limit, but it's not. It's like 2,000 character limit. Max out that 2,000 character limit. Add bullets, tell stories. There's a certain framework to the way I create captions. What I mean by keep it concise is what you're gonna do is you're going to create a video, right? And it's gonna have all these clips in it. You're gonna have like 10 clips in it, let's say. And then I want you to go back through and say, this clip sucks, not good enough. This clip is kind of like this clip over here, so we're gonna remove that one. This clip is probably too long, so we're gonna make that one shorter. And this one, you know what? That's boring, that's out. Just come back through with a knife and slice it all up.
I'll comment on there. One thing that's worked for me that I think I got from you, Jimmy, a while back is I'll actually create and save drafts of reels, and I won't post it that day or the next day, and I'll go back and rewatch them. Is this good? And it wasn't that good. And you like never post it, but like go back and like audit through it, like he's saying, helps a ton.
Yeah. What's my number one hook? My number one hook, in my opinion, has to do with clarity. And so you hear it all the time with people being like, you need to provide value. Like, how do you grow on Instagram? You need to provide value. Well, what the fuck is value? Well, in my opinion, value is clarity. People that are choosing to move, like this is a huge buying decision for them, and they're scared shitless, excuse all my language, about making this decision. That's why they're going on the forums and trying to make sure that they have clarity. And so some of my best performing pieces of content are going to be around clarity, the reasons behind why I make the decisions I do. Certain videos like the real reason why I chose this neighborhood over that neighborhood. The real reason, like the three things, like number of things. Like I've just come to explain connection content as like the number of things. I'm trying to find something here. People love that. People, I made a video about 3 things my wife and I were most excited about when moving from Arizona to Idaho. Like basically pointless stuff. Here it is. 245,000 views, 309 comments. 3 things my wife and I were most excited about when moving from Phoenix to Boise that most people take for granted. Walking barefoot in the grass, shade, and a cool breeze. Like literally nothing, right? Basically nothing. But it helps bring clarity to the idea like, that moving to my area, it has these dream outcomes that you've been hoping for. The funny thing about this is that this video spawned a lot of great comments and a lot of great conversations. I had one person reach out to me from this video, like sent me the reel and then responded to it and said like, oh my God, I totally agree. My family and I are thinking about moving. I would love to hear about your, like how that went and things like that. So anyways, any other comments real quick?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So I work 2 areas in California.
Yep.
And the place that I live, which is Ventura, is very different from Montecito, Santa Barbara. Do you recommend having different Instagrams for each area?
What are we talking about? What do you mean work 2 different areas? Why do you work 2 different areas?
Well, I'm from Santa Barbara. I know it much better than the area I live, but I live here because I live here. So I work both areas. Okay.
This is a deep conversation. We'd have to have a deep conversation. There's no high level answer. The high level answer is sell where you live because it's 10 times easier. And we're just talking about volume. So if we're trying to reach volume of content, volume of like number of things I can do, the houses I can show, whatever it may be, like stack all the chips in your favor, do everything in your backyard. All right. I'm gonna go through this. Essentially, this is exactly how to get leads on Instagram. It's the proven plan. So the reason I created this is because I had a lot of people in my community being like, I'm straight. It's all about bottlenecks and constraints. And it's like, I got a constraint over here. I got a constraint over here. I got a constraint over here. I got all these different constraints. And in the end, it all came down to one simple thing, which is basically, if we just do this series of things, and they're not sequential, but if we do this series of things and we do it over time, there's no reason why it will not work for you. And so if you're not getting results, it's because you're not doing one of these things or some of these things at the level at which that they should be. So let's just start at the very beginning. The way this is written out is kind of like a pledge, because I realized that in order to grow my business, it got to a point where I basically said to my wife, I was like, I'm now at a point in my business, like my real estate business, if I just continue doing these things, that I'm going to succeed. I mean, that's kind of all business is, right? Is like taking the time to find the right things to do and then just doing it for long enough to see the results and not getting bored doing the same thing over and over and over, not seeing that woman in the red dress, if you will. So let's go over this. I will create content consistently at the very foundation of this. I will create content consistently. I preach posting content, especially in the beginning as you're trying to get things up and running, is reps. Massive amounts of reps. And so I would recommend at a bare minimum posting once per day. And because the reality is when you increase volume, you get better. You're getting more leverage on your time because your skill improves. If you post every day for a while, you get pretty good at creating content quickly. But when you start to slow down and post infrequently, you just tend to not get better because you never do enough to truly turn that corner and get enough reps in. So even for me, honestly, if I don't post for like a while, I lose track of like the flow. Like there's truly a flow state to content. There's truly a flow state into doing the market research, getting good text, good prompts, and then actually going through the motions every single day and then just nailing your messaging because you're having the conversations every single day. It's like saying I'm going to start going to the gym because I want a result, right? I want to get fit. I want to get muscle, but I'm only going to do 2 times a day because that's what I can fit in my schedule and stay consistent with. Well, it's like, okay, fine, great. You're active, but you're not going to get probably the goal that you want based on whatever the goal truly is. So I need to focus on my ideal clients' pain points and dream outcomes 100% of the time. And I will use my own story and experience, crime rate and school ratings. Interesting. Yeah, we can chat. And use my story and experiences to create a connection with my viewer. Everyone has a story. I don't care if you grew up where you live or you moved across state and you moved from California to Franklin, Tennessee, and now you have the best story ever that everybody wants to move there. Everybody has a story. Everybody has authority in the space. We just need to change. You know what I found? Like 90% of everything I do inside of like my program is mindset. Like I'm constantly having to reframe people's mindsets because we all put ourselves in this little box. Like, well, I grew up here, so it doesn't work for me. Well, I moved, so it doesn't work for me. Well, I don't have a drone, so it doesn't work for me. I don't have kids, so it doesn't there's 1,000,001 reasons why it probably won't work for you. And if we tell ourselves all of those things or any of those things, you're right, it won't work. I could have told myself that I don't have the experience, so it's not going to work for me. And I'll focus on average watch time, creating shorter videos with value-packed captions so when people read our caption, the video does loop, and now Instagram sees it as a good video and will increase our chances of reaching more people. Sammy, you said that. Yes, I would highly recommend, if I were to start all back over from zero, and my goal in the beginning is like I need 1,000 followers as fast as humanly possible, I'm just going to leverage, number one, volume. And in order to leverage volume, I need to leverage one-clip reels. For this, obviously shorter videos, but also it's just faster. Like I can't be spending my time being all creative. And focusing on the first 3 seconds of the video, using proven prompts, mindful text fonts, and great visual hooks, aka the first clip. I will strive to make my messaging better by understanding what is making clients consider moving away from wherever they're moving, aka pain points, and what is making them consider moving to where I live. In the very beginning, I was having conversations with everybody, and so many people would try to put up their objection of like, not interested, or I already have a realtor, or I'm 2 years, whatever it may have been, like everything. And I'm like, great. And then I go right back to my script. Where are you considering moving from? That's awesome. What's making you consider leaving? And I just take them through the script all day. And then now I have my messaging. I can always get a little something out of everybody.
Can I hop on here real quick, Jimmy?
Yeah.
So even yesterday, I was knocking with Brandon, and we knocked into someone that moved from California, and they weren't going to buy with us at all. And so I told Brandon, let's figure out what city she moved from and why she moved here, and why that's been a good decision for her. Because you can even then from the doors pick up that content, guys, and then go do what Jimmy is saying. So like talk to people in your market, and if they're not going to do anything with you, that's okay. Get a referral, move on. But also like get some like content from them to go put into these social media posts.
Yep. Cool. So this is where the fun happens. So at this point, right, we're creating content. We know that we got to create it in a great way and focus on our ideal client, stay consistent and all the fun stuff. But now this is where we get a little bit more strategic. I understand that in order to get more leads, I will do active daily and weekly activities that gives me opportunities to create conversations. Creating content, as you've probably heard Jeremy said, is just 50% of the entire thing. Like not everybody's gonna inbound DM me. When they do, that's awesome, let's roll. But the reality is that most people are not gonna inbound DM you. Most people are actually too shy. They're not type A personalities. They're not gonna reach out to you. Especially in a market like this, where sometimes they just need some clarity or a little help understanding like now is a good time or whatever it may be. So anyways, when you create a connection piece of content, I will offer up my relocation guide. When I create a piece of real estate content, I will have my call to action be listings to comment for the listings or my relocation guide. And then finally, when I create a piece of content about a community or a listing, I will then take those clips, split them up into 3 to 5 stories, telling people about the community or listing, and then end with a story poll about relocating to my area, yes, no, maybe. Real quick. So I like to talk about what we're doing on Instagram as a virtual open house. When in reality, when you have a normal open house, there's one door that people can walk through, right? And we have to qualify this person. Like nobody's gonna let someone walk in through that door and walk into the house, go tour the house, and then walk out without qualifying that person, right? Like that would be ridiculous. Like so I want you to host an open house, but you're not allowed to talk to anyone. It's like, well then why am I doing this? Well, then why are we even posting on Instagram if all we're doing is hosting a virtual open house and we're not talking to anyone? Anyways, someone walks through this one single door at the open house. We don't know whether they're a neighbor or they're ready to buy right now, and all we have to do is have a conversation with them. So we need to qualify them. Well, the benefit of what we're doing on Instagram is we're hosting a virtual open house, and we have created many different doors for people to walk through. And this can show their intent. From low to unknown intent, if they're a new follower, all the way up to we can offer people to walk through the door of, hey, if you're ready to book a call, because I just saved this person $10,000 or $50,000 and got them a 3.9% interest rate, then book a call right here on my calendar and boom, you just got calls booking through your calendar. So this is the high intent. So this is like every single day we're playing a game of Plinko, right? We're dropping a new reel down. What door do I want to have people walk through today? And once you get good at this, once you know who you're talking to, you're good at visual hooks, you can guarantee yourself that I'm gonna get 5 to 10,000 to 100,000, 200,000 views on every single reel. Well, now you truly are playing Plinko. Every single video I make, I'm gonna get people walking in through a door. I'm going to get new followers. I can guarantee I'm going to get new followers. And I'm gonna now drop a Plinko token down into the story poll section. And like I said, maybe I saved someone tons of money and I got them 3.9% interest rate. I'm gonna post that in my stories. And then I'm gonna say, hey, if you want this, I can help you too. Let's book a call, make that happen. And the people, so ultimately what I was saying here is that just because the people raise their hand, I still need to follow up with my leads. And we need to understand that our social media account and content is for our ideal client only, and that I will only create content that they connect with. So no more, no more vacation photos or videos or whatever it may be. Like, figure out a way to position it. And I'm not saying once you have 10, 15, or even 5,000 followers, whatever it may be. I'm saying in the beginning. I'm simply saying to get people to care about you. No one cares about you in the beginning, plain and simple. So we need to make our account all about them. We want our account to be their favorite place to come. Like a kid walking into Toys R Us. They walk in there, they feel like, man, this place was made for me. I am stoked to be here. That's what we want our Instagram account to be like. And finally, I know that staying focused and disciplined, avoiding comparisons to others, and concentrating solely on my own efforts, I'll achieve better results over time. It's so hard to just focus on the results that we're getting and how to improve every single day. But in July 2023, I only had 385 followers on this account. This is the marketing side of things, back when I was doing video production, and I was seriously struggling hardcore. But once I started getting focused and understanding the right things to focus on, text on the screen, I had such a hard time, like just growing into the idea, like, yes, text on the screen is better than some fancy talking head. But once I did, started focusing on my ideal client, that sort of thing, I was able to grow this account to over 20,000 followers in a year. And then, of course, we already talked about this account as well. The main difference was just focusing everything. Like, I can't stress it enough. And probably at this point in time, ideal client is too vague of a word, which is why I try to explain it in other ways in terms of like motivation of why they're leaving, motivation of why they're coming. And it's a lot simpler to understand than people like to believe in terms of like, why are people moving to St. George? Why are people moving to St. George? Where are they leaving? It probably has to do with a transformation. It probably has to do with contrast, right? Contrast in seasons, contrast in other things. I'm going to stop there. I mean, I could keep going, but it's kind of redundant at that point just to, bring the whole thing home. But the reality is that I know that if I do these things, I create content consistently, I focus on my ideal client, I keep my content short, I use great visual hooks, I have conversations with as many people as possible, I get people to comment and raise their hand, and then I follow up with all those people. I make my account about my people, and I stay focused on what I'm doing, and I keep my head down. And I remove myself emotionally from the outcome and just focus on the process. And I do that for long enough that I will guaranteed see results. Cool. Well, let's open it up.
I feel like I just watched a Star Wars movie. And I'm sitting there at the end like, holy crap. Darth Vader was his father the whole time? Really good. Hey, real quick before we jump into Q&A, can you maybe shed some light on when people come into your program, what are like 3 things they really struggle with, but once they fix that, it's like, then they take off? Because I bet a lot of people in here, it's like probably the same things. What do you think 3 of those would be? Your advice on those 3 things. And then guys, let's open it up to a Q&A. If you want to stay and go after, I'm available. Jimmy's after. We'll kind of just hang out and do a bunch of Q&A, but get your questions ready. Jimmy, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so the things that people struggle with right off the bat. So the way the program works is like the very first week, I want to make sure your foundation is set. So what that looks like is we go into your ideal client right away. By day 2, I handpick your first pieces of content for you. You go off and create them, and then you send them in to me to review them. I comment on the same things over and over and over. Number 1, your visual hook probably isn't good enough. Your text on the screen that I basically wrote for you is way too big. Like if you've ever seen, like if you go look at the last video I posted on my real estate account last night, my text is really small, like stylized. Like this doesn't need to be a big banner, like all across our account. And then once we kind of like have that understanding, it's going to be consistency and focus. Like if we don't make this, one of the first videos I have people watch is called Your New Identity. Because it is an identity. If you don't identify as someone that likes to create content on Instagram, if you're the type of person that says, I've avoided Facebook or Instagram like the plague, I didn't have a social media until I became a realtor, whatever it may be, if that's your mindset and opinion about it, it's going to be an uphill battle to fight against the people like me and like everybody else that eat and breathe this shit because we love it. And so if you feel like, I just have to do it, it's going to come through like commission breath in terms of we know you're on Instagram just to get leads. Doesn't answer your question, but, and then consistency. It's going to be just coming up. So yeah, when it comes to consistency, it's developing the process and the habit to do this every single day so that it is top of mind. Because if it's not what I always like to say is you're not going to build a brand on Instagram 20 minutes before bed. Like if you think you're just going to whip something out real quick, it's not going to happen. Like this has to be a focus in the beginning. Just like Jeremy, you talk about like, I got to learn this thing. So I'm going to front end stack the learning so that I can then move on to something else later. It's kind of like what we're talking about.
Love that. Yeah. So ideal client, visual hook, text on screen, consistency and focus. I love that you talk about the identity. If you don't see yourself as connecting with people on social media, then you just never will and you'll hate it. Leads to inconsistency. And then your account gets buried. So great advice. All right, let's open up the Q&A. Brandon, take it off.
Okay, so I have multiple pages, but I kind of dismiss the other two and just throw everything on one page, like personal and real estate. Should I just keep one page purely real estate?
What's the difference between personal and real estate? Like in general, not the difference in accounts, but the difference between you. This is literally what we're talking about. Identity. Where are you located, Brandon?
St. George.
Perfect. Did you grow up there? Did you move there?
I moved here.
Perfect.
10 years ago.
What, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Cool. Where from?
Rancho Cucamonga, California.
California. Perfect. Awesome. Do you have a family?
Yeah.
Do you have kids?
Yep.
2 to 10 years old?
3 to 13.
Perfect. That's your identity. That's your account. That's who you are. I'm someone who lives. I relocated. That's my story. I'm in the community. I adventure around. We love being active in the community. Hope you love my account. It's all for you. If you're planning on moving here, I'd love to help. If you know anyone that's thinking of moving, awesome.
Got it.
Yeah, no, I see no difference in between anything. In between real estate, there's something going on that is creating the question in the first place, and so it might have to do with the type of content, but in the end, the brand itself is all the same, because people want to work with you because of who you are, just like Jeremy was just saying, not because you're a realtor and you show nice homes. But now I'm just assuming things, so I'm going to stop assuming.
Great answer. Thanks, Brandon. All right, let's take George's question and then we'll hit over to Eric.
You want me to ask the question or you want to read it? Sorry.
I mean, it came from you. I'm more than happy to read it.
Okay, cool.
You need me to be your secretary.
Hey, Jimmy, you and I've spoke once in the past before. Sorry, I haven't been following up. Been busy too. So my question, my block, I know you said you hear a lot of excuses from people. So my thing is like, I had a lot of active listings and pendings and stuff, and I want to promote them because I feel like, that's my business, right? Promoting the inventory that I have. And I feel that I missed out by not promoting it. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. So, Jeremy just taught it many times, kind of trying to promote more of a lifestyle. So, from your marketing background and experience, are you focusing, you have an abundance of business? Are you promoting more of the lifestyle? And then when you do the lifestyle, are you going back to mentioning that active listing that you sold or you have for sale? How do you find the right balance? Because that's where my thing is. Like, I don't want to bore the audience or the followers. Okay, he's got another listing. He did it again. He's promoting that again. Blah blah blah. So
how many times are you posting a week right now?
To be honest with you, probably at a minimum, I'm doing about five.
Cool.
I always just say conservatively once a day.
What do you? So when you say, "Oh, I'm boring," this guy's got another listing. At what point is that happening in your mind? Where it's like, if I do this X amount of times or something like that.
Well, like you said, I love what I do. I love my business. I mean, I could talk real estate all day. I could talk about, converting the lead. Mm-hmm. And that's all I could think about. So I can't think about my mind's not at that creativeness of saying, hey, let me show the lifestyle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what? You're in a good place, because I truly believe that the creative people are doomed. The people that want to be as creative as possible and make cool videos, like, they're screwed. because creativity does not make you money. It's going to be the people with the business mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with that out of the way, how much are your listings? How much are they worth?
On average, I would say about 550-ish.
Okay.
In Florida. I'm here in Orlando.
Yeah, I remember. You were in your Tesla when we chatted.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm in
so
Miami right now.
nice. So that's a good price point, right? Especially for your area. Like, you'd want to show them, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so I guess the main things you're asking is, number one, balance. Number two, okay, few things. I think you're totally good. I think you should market your listings as many possible ways as you possibly can and get people to comment for them. And so that's going to be like, there's a lot of people that I follow that do a great job of this. What I promote is actually something that I feel like I've adopted and tried to emulate from Robert Cedeno over in Southern California. This guy's, if you don't follow Robert, you gotta follow Robert. He's all about going into one house, getting 15 pieces of content. This guy is the definition of volume. 3-4 times a day he's posting. Like upwards of 12 to 15, even 30 pieces of content in a week. Like insane, absolutely insane. Like he helps you blow the like any self-doubt of like, oh my God, I'm gonna post too much. Go look at Robert's account. There's no way you're posting too much. And so let's reverse it real quick to say that one house, I would document it in multiple different ways. So that's going to be in like a dreamy style. So like a 1x lens doing very slow movements. That's like one option. Then I'd walk through the house with the 0.5x lens on a gimbal and then kind of speed it up in post in between the different rooms. Then you could do a voiceover with your hand or a voiceover. Then you could actually do one of you talking in it. Then you could do one of you highlighting the community. Then you can actually take the photos, do a carousel, and tell a story about what people could expect when they buy this house in each room, things like that.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
No, I was saying thank you. I like those ideas. See, it's like that's where I need you, man, and Jeremy. I just throw the ideas. I'm like a doer, you know. I just need people to throw the stuff at me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, don't worry about boring your audience. Nobody's watching as closely as you think.
Love that. Such good advice. Thanks for the question. All right, let's hit Eric and then Sammy.
Yeah, I was curious. Do you ever highlight like school districts and crime rates at all in your content?
So interesting, real quick. So I don't really talk about schools much. I've made one specific post. I think the text on screen was like, if you're thinking about moving to Star, Idaho, then you have to know how impacted our school system is. So I just came out straight and said it. And that was a good post. A lot of people commented on that. I talked about schools in my stories. And I had a bunch of people reach out to me. That was like crazy. My stories only get anywhere from 400 to 1,000 views. That one story had like 3,000+ views. And it's because you can share stories. And so obviously schools are really important. And so understanding that schools are really important leads me to believe that yes, I should be talking more about schools. Obviously a school is like, people live around a school. They move to a place because it has good schools. So absolutely you should be talking about schools. Now, can you make a video about here are the best schools in the area? I think so. I think that's like kosher. Have I done it?
The reason why I asked that is because I'm doing YouTube right now. And
Gotcha.
I'm going to be venturing more into Instagram, but on YouTube, there's this fair housing crazy thing in in California, where it's like they consider that like steering, and I don't have a lot of competition in my area for YouTube. And I was just looking at my competitions, what they're doing, and they say, oh, we can't say that, but you can say it a different way. But I was just curious, you're just where you're at with Instagram, and if you're even getting hit with that, because over here on YouTube, like they're just weird with that stuff.
Sure. Then we're talking specifically to Instagram, right?
Yeah, for you. For me, I'm just talking YouTube, but I was just curious if you've had those same pain points. I'm probably not in Idaho. I doubt it, right?
No, we got terrible impacted schools. So that's a problem.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. No, a lot of people move here and then they voted against a levy to make more schools because a lot of people are interested in homeschool or alternative types of school. And so a levy obviously increases your taxes and things like that. And they're like, no, thanks. I'm either too old to care about schools or I homeschool. And so, no, I'm not going to increase it. And so, therefore, we have 43-to-1 ratio on our elementary school right now,
Wow, it's crazy.
which is why we're in private school.
Great question, Eric. All right, Sammy, you're up.
Do you think that reels are the best way to go for engagement and lead conversion, or do you still see value in static posts and carousel posts?
How many followers do you have?
200, I think, on my real estate account.
How often are you posting?
Twice a week.
Okay. So I would go with the mindset of I need to get to 1,000 followers as fast as I possibly humanly can. And that's going to come with volume. And it's going to come with, okay, if that's the goal, because it's all based on goals. Like, sure, I want leads. Absolutely, I want leads. But the reality is, if I'm not reaching enough people, I can get more leads with more people that I reach. And so, at this point, we don't even need Google reviews. Like, sure, Google reviews are great, but I have done one transaction myself, and the rest have been everybody else. The number of times that someone has asked me, like, for referrals or references or how many houses you sold, anything like that, zero. Zero people. And it's because they look in my account. It's authority. They see the authority in what I do, or they put authority on what I do as like, he must know what he's doing. He's got 20,000 followers. If this guy hasn't sold a house and he's talking about real estate, like, who the hell is this? Well, welcome. So, yeah, to answer that, it's just reels. I go all reels. I don't even post carousels because it's just another form of thing that you got to do. I try to create the least amount of variance in what I do so I can just go. The 80-20.
Yeah, how I always answer that to just add in addition is whatever will make you consistent.
Sure.
Because consistency is king, right? So you can make it simple, like Jimmy's talking about. That'll make you consistent. If you're consistent, just because nobody can be consistent to save their rear end, then you'll just naturally dominate your market because you'll have the volume from consistency. So, hey, what other questions you guys have? Cassidy, questions you have? Jimmy, I got to put on a side note though, while we wait for Cassidy to unmic. My kid right now is showing me Pokemon cards. I saw you post about that the other day.
Yep.
We're deep in it right now.
Yeah, nice. I love it.
Hey, Cassidy, you have any questions? So Cassidy, if you pull her up, her account, Jimmy, she's got over 100,000 followers.
Yeah. She just started following me like yesterday. I clicked on her account.
Yep, I called her and yelled at her. Tell her to follow you.
No, it's all
and,
good.
And what would be your advice to those? I mean, there's only a couple of us in here, but those that have like a decent amount of followers, but they're not converting.
I have 1,000,001 questions.
What's been your thing on conversion? Let's talk about that. If someone's got 400 followers, like what's the one thing or two things that help them convert? Like actually get them to convert that you're seeing works really well.
Hold on. Okay, there you are. Okay, so you have 106,000 followers and 3,300 posts. That's a ton of posts, right? So you've been creating content forever, if you're listening. So years, right? Essentially. I'm so curious. This has got to be all personal branding based, right?
Sorry, my chat's not working. So I lost actually 30,000 followers. I did fitness for 17 years before I switched over.
Gotcha.
And so now I'm just trying to pick up the real estate. Yeah, but it's been years of content.
How many followers when did you get your license?
About 2 years ago.
How many followers do you think you had 2 years ago when you got your license?
108, I think it was.
Okay.
109 or something.
When
it's been slowly declining.
What would you say that your account basically is in terms of the type of content that you create? Is it obviously some real estate? I think I clicked through it yesterday. I saw some normal Instagram stuff, if you will. Trying this trend, but with my 3, 4, and 5-year-old with the phone hanging out of your mouth.
I didn't know. Just trying to be more creative and like not do the normal posts that people do. So
you live
trying to come up with
in.
like my own scripts. I don't know, in the real estate world
Okay.
to find out what the audience will grab.
Sure. Okay. So I'm seeing Florida and Utah Realtor, and then it says Orlando's finest real estate. I'm confused right off the bat if you can help me or not.
Well, I'm licensed in Florida and Utah,
Of course.
and mainly in most of my business was in Utah,
Sure.
but trying to build it out here in Florida and change the brand. We have Utah's finest out in Utah, and I'm taking over the Orlando's finest.
Okay. Okay. I'm a huge believer in just the brand, like clarity, brand clarity. Like just like I said, when you go into Toys R Us, I painted this picture the other day where it was like, if you're looking to go buy a toy, when you go into Toys R Us, you know, like, okay, this is going to be awesome. I'm here to buy a toy. Instead of like, where are you going to go? You're going to go to Toys R Us, or you're going to go to the toy section of your local grocery store.
I'm going to the dollar store.
You're going to the dollar store. Love it.
I get it. I'm going to Toys R Us.
No. Yeah, no, just the whole idea is like, and you've heard this a million times before, right? Like, if someone's moving to Orlando, are they going to go with the Orlando, Ken Pozak, who's all about Orlando, or are they going to go with someone who shows that you're confused on where they're actually being pulled? Like, you're more concerned, you as in the buyer is concerned that I want to make sure have the most attention on me, basically.
So take out Utah.
Yeah.
Even though I'm making more money there.
Where it's not about money. It's about what do you want to market. So
How do I market both?
Two different accounts. Your account is for an ideal client. If your messaging is unclear, then it's not going to convert well. My take on the whole thing is just like very, it's why I have a Realtor account and I have a marketing account. Two totally different ideal clients. Just like Jeremy. But you see,
Utah, and you think that's the only thing that you would change?
I think the content type, I think at some point I saw you commenting for a freebie, this protein. Self-care for mamas, shipping them out myself, $29. Like, I'm confused on what your offer is.
Offer on that particular post, or offer in
Offer as a business.
Instagram page.
You are a business. So you're selling $29 protein drinks. You're selling $1 million houses in Utah, $1 million houses in Orlando. Each one of these is a product. You can make $1 million a year on anything you want, but you probably can't do it on all of them when it comes to bringing in people from our marketing.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
And with that,
well,
anyone else have any other questions?
You want to go back to your question real quick? You said, how do you get people to convert?
Yep.
Number one is going to be pinpoint messaging, which is why the very first thing that we do is go into the ideal client, really focus in on who that is. Then it's going to be volume. Make sure I'm reaching enough people. I'm staying in front of people as often as possible. And I guess the question, though, on the backside is, what do you mean having a problem with conversion? Hand raisers? Conversations? Like, at what point is the constraint?
I mean, that's a great question. Do you guys have any comments on that? Or any questions? How to get people to raise their hand? How to then convert them? How to talk to them? How to get a consultation? Like, what questions do you guys have?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind jumping in. I've been copying a lot of what you do, just text on screen stuff. My views have been blowing up substantially, but I feel like a lot of it's because I've been touching on more controversial topics. Like, I live in Vancouver.
Nice.
Alberta is one of our competitors.
Sure.
So you can see if you could take a quick look and just kind of see what you think, because I don't think I'm getting the right audience, if you know what I mean.
Sure. Let's take a look. What's your handle?
It's just Dan J. Riley. Riley spelled Reilly.
Nice. Okay. Greater Vancouver area. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the problem that you're experiencing?
So I've been getting a ton of engagement, but like nobody reaching out.
Of course.
I mean, I'm not sure if I'm doing the right type of content, but I am getting views here.
Okay, so right off the bat, nobody reaching out is just the wrong mindset. No one's going to reach out.
Right. So I've been I DM the people that follow me.
Okay.
And
Yeah. What are you doing?
easy.
How about this? Are you okay? Let's go down this line because it really is like a hose. And where is it? And it's like it's kinked. Okay. So how often are you posting?
Once a day.
Okay. Great. What are your monthly views?
This month I have 174,000.
Okay. Not bad. Probably want to like crank that up.
Yeah.
How many followers are you getting per month?
I don't know if I can pull it up here. So you mean crank it up as in post twice a day?
No. Just figure out how we can reach more people, basically. We're just looking for opportunities in this moment right now.
Okay. There, let me just see if I can. I probably get maybe 25 to 50 a month. It's kind of where I'm at now.
Okay. How many hand raisers do you get a month? Do you have a guide? Like, what do you have lead magnets and do you have ways to get people to show that they're interested in real estate?
Yep. Just a link in my a bio. Usually it's a guide.
Do you have a CTA that you offer to like, hey, if you're interested in this?
I do just in my bio. I don't really have any other other CTAs are just in my description. So I'll say like DM me a word or comment this.
Okay. And you have ManyChat set up?
I do, yeah.
Okay. How many comments do you think you're getting per month for this stuff? Or per week, I guess. Per month, per week. Just on average. Just throw a number out.
In terms of people commenting or sending the word?
Yep.
Probably 5 to 10.
Okay.
Hard to guess.
Probably, so that's on the low end. And then conversations. How many new conversations are you starting every single week? Conversation, just a back and forth.
Okay, I'll probably get one a week. In terms of someone who messages back.
Okay. When you say messages back, how are you, okay, so we have our hand raisers. Are you reaching out to everybody that raises their hand? Whether it's a new follower guide, listing, poll, whatever it may be.
Yep. I've been weak with the polls. Maybe that's...
That's just an opportunity.
Right.
Okay. Cool. With that in mind, let's take a look. Where do you live?
I live in Surrey. It's an area maybe 45 minutes from Vancouver, the city.
Totally. Cool. Let's take a look here.
Sorry. I just tried editing my bio there and then it came up with a typo, so just ignore that.
POE, you didn't follow the herd to Alberta. Now you get mountain and ocean views. And did you grow up in Surrey?
I did, yes.
I moved here from the community. Then I found out the high school pumps out mathletes. I don't know the location though. I'm a huge proponent.
It's at Walnut Grove is the location.
Okay. You didn't move to Alberta, so now you're busy hiking mountains instead of explaining why it was a better investment.
So that really is because a lot of people are moving to Alberta because it's cheaper, but it's not necessarily a nicer place to live.
All right, let me analyze something real quick. How long have you been posting consistently, like when you say I'm starting to get better views?
Probably, I'd say 3 months. 2-3 months.
Okay, so what are you saying to people? So you're reaching out to your new followers. What are you saying?
Essentially, well, that was just kind of like funnel content just to get people who live in the area watching my stuff. And then I was thinking just maybe authority in terms of knowing which schools would be best.
Sure. No, I get it. But what are you saying? What is your first message? You get a new follower. What do you say to them?
Sorry. Yeah. So usually, I think I got my first message is, "Hey, did you follow me for real estate, or are you just interested in the great content?" Haha. Something along those lines.
Okay. How's your response rate?
I didn't come up with that. I got that from Jeremy, I think.
Totally. How's your response rate?
It's probably 25%.
25% response rate. That's huge. Okay. Track your data. Do absolutely track your data. By all means, track your data. Because that way you do know what everything is and you know where the opportunity is. Hormozi speaks so loudly about it, which is there's unlimited opportunities with limited resources. And so if we don't know truly where to focus on, we're just gonna be focusing on everything or things that don't even really matter. And so I wanna find out personally, where's the most leverage I can spend that if I just do this one thing, if I just plug this one hole, everything else will become better. Now, ultimately, what I feel like we're talking about is getting people to comment for your guide. So it sounds like you have your guide. Are you posting houses and then getting people to comment for your listing details?
Sorry, I lost you there. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah. So your calls to action. So back in my presentation, I basically said like, I'm going to create connection type content, which is like this, and then I'm going to offer people up my guide. Are you doing it for listing details as well?
I haven't done too many. So a lot of my recent stuff was just more neighborhood stuff, but previously I've done a ton of listing videos.
Are you making up your own prompts?
No, ChatGPT.
Okay. Do this instead. Go find proven prompts all over the internet. It's already proven. It's already proven to like do well. The psychology is there. Something about it works, and then reverse engineer it for you. Like this is great. You know, you're like you're there. You're there, but like ChatGPT sucks. No, it's good. It's good. I just don't think it knows this. It doesn't know what I'm talking about when it comes to creating prompts. So like these are pretty wordy. Like most of these are pretty wordy, and I like it. I get that there's an angle to it. There's some, pain points and dream outcomes. They're associated with it, but I feel like there's just some tweaks that we can do to this because in the end, ultimately, even though our guide is free, the listing details are free, whatever it may be, we still have to sell it. And so certain things like now let's look at the caption real quick. So you said, if your current home is starting to feel a bit tight, you don't have to settle. Let's find you a space. Okay. And make this process simple and low stress. Are you writing your own captions or is ChatGPT doing this?
No, ChatGPT again.
I think we found the problem. Thinking about a move, DM me space and I'll send over a custom list of homes with extra room for you're craving. I'm craving. Does anyone say I'm craving more space? Oh, chat. Okay. I want to highlight something real quick. Whenever I create like my calls to action, it's usually always the same. I literally just pull it over from post to post to post. Like, to give you an example, let's look at this one. Whenever I'm going to sell, getting someone to actually take the action is a sell. You are selling them to take the action, even though it's completely free. We still need to sell that the idea of my thing is really awesome and you should totally take me up on it. And so here's how I do it. If you're starting your search into relocating to Boise, the first thing you're going to want to get clear on is what suburb are you going to move to? Star, Eagle, Boise, Meridian? Because the reality is my ideal client, they're moving to Boise, and as soon as they realize like, yeah, I want to move to Boise, they're like, I really don't get this. I don't get what Star, like what's the difference in between Star and Eagle and Boise? And so if someone reads this and they're like, yes, that's me, then they're going to be more likely to take the action. And then that's just, I call that the ramp. I'm ramping up to make my ask. Once I make my ask, I'm not done yet. Then I still got to sell it. DM me Idaho bound and I'll send you my blueprint to Boise's most popular suburbs where you'll learn population, median age, median home price, median income, public school rating, and so much more. I'm selling it saying this is everything you could possibly need. This is how I've had over 2,000 downloads in less than a year. I mean, I've heard people say like, oh, I got a pretty good email list. It's like 400. I'm like, damn, I got 2,000. I didn't realize that was big. And it's probably because I focus so hard on the messaging and what I'm saying. Your message? What do you mean? How long does it take to create your message on average?
The description.
Like what you just went over your description.
All right.
Like, I mean, you got to be like very sensitive. I'm not sensitive, you know, it's kind of like write all that. I kind of cheat sometimes.
Sometimes I take up to 30 minutes, like way too long that I should be spending on this. But let's put it this way. When I have conversations with people, like I feel like it's a love-hate where I do believe that the reason I'm able to gain 23,000 followers is because I'm able to connect with people in my caption. And then they comment, they know my story, they know me. Because here's the reality is that I'm either going to provide the value in the video. I don't have any examples. I'm either going to have a talking head, right, where I provide the value in the video or I provide the value in the caption. But either way, the value's got to be somewhere.
So Jimmy, segueing onto that, since you've already developed your caption, you know the trigger words per se, do you repurpose that over and over? So it's kind of like I haven't researched to the weeds your contents, but if I were to search one listing to 10 listings ago, would you ideally have the same thing because you know it works?
Yes.
That message?
100%. It goes back to your ideal client and what they want to buy. Why are people moving to the area and what do they want to buy? I mean, shit, you're in Orlando. Probably if I moved to Orlando, every single one of my videos was be about you moved here for Disney, you moved here for the theme parks, and if I was moving here for the theme parks, this is the house I would buy. Something like that.
See, and you say that, and I think that, right? But then I'm like, man, I see so many content creators. I'm like, man, am I just another one saying the same thing over and over? That's my block that I have.
Am I just another content creator making 500,000 to $1 million a year? Yes.
Well, if you look at it that way.
What I was going to show you was this one video. I nailed it. You don't always nail them, but I nailed it. And so therefore, that's what you're talking about. Like, do you just go back to it? So I made this video. Up until this point, this is a house tour. Up until this point, my house tours were getting anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 lifetime views. I made this video. It got 300,000 views in 48 hours. I was like, holy shit, what happened? Well, I think it had a lot to do with the fact that the people that moved to Boise, they want no HOA, they want acreage, and they want room for a shop. And the whole reason why I even put this on here was because for the prior week or two, literally every single person that was actually talking to me through the DMs was like, I need a shop. I need a shop. I want no HOA. So I found this property. I went and found this property. I reached out to the agent, said, hey, can I highlight your property? She's like, sure. She filmed it for me, actually. And it crushed. It has now become the staple of like what type of properties I go and find. Also, the way I try to create my videos. Because something was here, right? Whether it was the visual hook, the text on screen, the format, which is the format is just how the way that we've communicated the information. Something about it worked. And so now I just kind of double down on everything. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Hey, I'm going to cut you there because I know you have a hard stop right now.
I got a meeting right now. I was going to skip it.
Hey, you guys.
So if you want my help implementing this strategy one-on-one, I run a 16-week coaching program where I help over 30 agents every single month. I work with them one-on-one, implementing, creating how to talk to people, giving you the exact scripts that you need to book 2 to 4 consultations every single month. Click the link below to schedule a roadmap call and we'll see if it's a good fit.